Sorry, y'all. I just love that song. Those of you who follow me have heard it before. Just want to show you something here. What kind of fruit is that, y'all? What kind of fruit is that? Right there. All right. Yep. Sure as sugar, those are apples. Now, you know what? This confused me before. I don't know if technically the area to the right of this small park road is any longer considered the peach orchard. But that just really confused me before, and I had to reinvestigate. Those are definitely apple trees. Absolutely. By the way, guys, happy 162. Of course, you guys know how I kind of feel about things in general. I probably haven't changed many minds at this point, few if any. But if you just tuned in, I don't see this conflict the way that most people see it. Most people, as usual, fall on one side of the camp or the other. They don't think there's any middle ground. They don't think there are any other possible explanations. Sometimes these are deeply held beliefs because they had perhaps ancestors who fought here. By the way, Gandhi's 65. Hello, how are you? As promised, we are at the peach orchard on July the 2nd. Now it's not later in the evening because now look here, guys. So we got peach trees over here, apple trees over there. Maybe I'm the only one who was confused about that. But you know, guys, I'm doing a couple battlefield thingies this morning before the park gets really crowded. Later on, we'll just have kind of some fun walks around the battlefield. You guys can, you know, just get a gander at the crowds and everybody being in a festive mood. Again, my mood when I come up here, you know, it often changes. Sometimes I'm really happy to be here, and sometimes it just, you know, it just kind of hurts my heart a little bit because this happened because a nation was divided. Didn't divide itself, okay? A nation was divided by the powers that be, by the politicians, etc., etc. This was a political war, as all wars are. The results were catastrophic. I'm sure while many people are proud of their ancestors who fought here, a handful of you must wish that they rather didn't die here, as valiant as it may have been. I don't know. But anyways, you know, guys, we've covered this a bit. I did a video up here recently, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. Most of us know the general story. Beyond that tree line, Dan Sickles had advanced his third corps. And he actually, oh, you can actually see Little Round Top right through there. Might actually have to pause it and zoom in, but it's almost a mile from there to here. So he really kind of went out on a limb, so to speak, and really advanced his corps quite far. Now, skipping all the controversy, because I mentioned that before, I probably mentioned it in my last video, and I did mention the terrain, which I'll briefly mention again. You really have to come to the park to understand a lot of aspects of this battle. You have to come up here to understand why Sickles moved. You know, a lot of folks think he was a buffoon and, you know, he wasn't a West Pointer and he had no idea what he was doing. I used to think he was a bit buffoon-ish. He definitely cared about the war and the battle, wanted to perform well, and you know, all of his decisions, even this controversial decision, they're not completely impossible to understand, but you have to come up here to figure this stuff out. Again, Pennsylvania, South Central Pennsylvania, is full of nothing but gently sloping hills, and it's kind of deceptive to us when we're just passing through. It's kind of hard to really see and understand the different vantage points, but the difference of even 40 feet or so can make a big impact in a battle. So if we come up here, and I did this in the last video, but if we come up here, you look across Emmitsburg Road, and you can actually see a plane in front of you. I mean, I'm kind of far away. There's a tractor down there, as you can see, in some traffic. But across the road, you have a fairly clear view of any incoming enemy combatants, say like Longstreet's Corps, which is exactly what Sickles wanted to have, you know, have a jump on. Anyways, guys, the other thing I'll say, like I mentioned at Devil's Den, was day 2, in my opinion, was quite a bit of a draw. You know, the first day clearly goes to the Rebs. The third day clearly goes to the Union. Day 2 was a draw in many ways, because much like at Devil's Den, where the Confederates won the smaller battle within the battle of Devil's Den, it wasn't very much of a strategic or tactical win, because it really didn't, by gaining that ground, they gained little else. The same can kind of be said for the Confederates here now, but it was something of a tactical victory, okay? So this was another instance on day 2 when the Confederates won the smaller battle and pushed back the Union. Now, they did not take, of course, between either the Peach Orchard and or Devil's Den, they didn't conquer Little Round Top or make really, you know, any headway on Cemetery Ridge, right? But what this particular smaller battle within the battle did do here at the Peach Orchard was it allowed a good staging ground for the Confederate artillery. I guess maybe for the rest of day 2 and probably for day 3. So as you can see, if I'm looking this way across the street, way up yonder in this area here is where, well, really, I mean, kind of from the whole western side of Emmetsburg Road was where Confederate troops were massing on day 3, and then Pickett, Pettigrew et al. Made their charge from a little bit up there and came in an eastward direction over here. But this right here, the Peach Orchard, was one of the main, an area for one of the main batteries for the massive bombardment that began before Pickett's charge commenced. It was also a very, very sharp artillery duel here at the Peach Orchard on day 2, even before day 3. Before day 3, it may have ranked as one of the most severe and intense engagements between artilleries up until day 3. But it was very, very fierce, and one Union commander, I'm gonna get my I don't want to name the wrong person. One of the Union commanders called it artillery hell. I think it was E. Porter Alexander. He called this artillery hell because there were a lot of guns up here. I think a handful were captured, but it's funny, you know, in the Battle of Gettysburg, some artillery units and cannons were captured at one point and then recaptured by the other team or the other army. Last thing I'll say is that while the wheat field and other areas definitely get a lot more attention, like I said, for different reasons, the Peach Orchard should not be thought of anything as you know, of a skirmish, because it was very hotly contested. There were lots and lots of losses here, guys, among these peach trees. Lots of losses. So as most folks know, I got to wrap this up. It was basically Sickles versus brigade commanders Barksdale and Kershaw coming in for the Confederates, and there were lots of Unions on both sides that lost 50% or more. I think it was the 141st Pennsylvania. 141st Pennsylvania lost, if I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, 23 out of 24 officers and 75% of its soldiers. I mean, that's just astounding, and that is definitely on par with oh shoot, it's definitely on par with one of the actions on day 1 to the north of town. There was another unit, I think it would have been the 2nd New Hampshire. They had quite tremendous losses as well. So again, Sickles's troops formed a salient, formed kind of like an L shape, and eventually, You know, this is kind of the only thing you can do when you're spread too thin and when you're being overpowered. But eventually it crumbled and they had to get pushed back. And there were lots and lots of losses in this Battle of the Peach Orchard. Anyhow, guys, I'm out of time. There are always more things to say, but I can't pack them into 10.5 minutes all the time. So all apologies, but we will see you on the next one real soon here.